The pressure is on as we continue. Souls start getting larger and larger on average as we move further and further from the city, and it's getting increasingly difficult to avoid large monster territories. Still getting a piggyback ride, I use Nora's helmet as a surface to help prepare my spear on the go, which she tolerates with the patience of a goddess. More and more monsters end up resistant to Penelope's attacks as well, to her increasing dismay. Still, the team manages to cut our way through a winding path of obstacles, making good progress before settling down for the night. I have another nap before nightfall, assuring everyone I got good rest on Nora's shoulders and that I'll be fine overnight. It isn't a very long night, thankfully, so I even believe myself. You know, as long as I got a few soul-based pick-me-ups to help keep me awake. Unfortunately, to my annoyance, some people seem to be having difficulty going to sleep. I had been afraid of something like this. I think Remus knows something is up. Will he confront me about this? Will he find out? Will I be killed? Yet while the others rest, Penelope is actually the one who got up and sat down next to me instead. If you're hiding another talent, she hisses quietly, it would be damn helpful if the team knew about it. My eyes narrow. What did she notice? I need to tread carefully here. Appeal to her ego, she like that. Is stabbing things considered a talent nowadays? I ask, voice flat. I'm telling you, your spell just makes it way easier to move and think. Vita, she answers, her eyes narrow. Remus had us take apart the bodies while you were passed out. Your last 5 kills didn't die from dagger wounds. I swallow. What the heck did they die from, then? I don't know, she answers icily. I was hoping you could tell me. I grimace, bodies sagging. What the heck do I say? Oh yeah, you caught me, I'm actually forbidden by the church and government to exist. I might be able to brush off my death touch as a non-animancy talent, but having more than one talent was pretty rare. People will be inclined to wonder how Scout Sense links up with an apparently non-biological kill vector, and I don't doubt 1 or 2 people will come up with soul magic. That was too many. I didn't want this spreading around. Okay. You got me, Pen, I say dramatically. The truth is, I'm so stunningly beautiful that lesser creatures faint in my presence. What? It's true, I drawl. The gods themselves sing praises of my infinite beauty. Not even the Mistwatcher could resist holding me in a delicate embrace. She slaps me backhanded, hard. The crack of it echoes once in the otherwise silent night as a welt blooms on my cheek. Well, Remus is definitely awake now. Do you think that you're funny? She hisses. We all could have died. You nearly did die, and you're making jokes? I guess I get to add you to the list of people that will hit me if I say something they don't like, I comment dryly. Is she going to keep pushing this? Damn it, this is the worst possible time, too. If Remus had been asleep I might have been able to just kill her and make her a revenant. She'll at least stop being such a bitch to me all the time. An expert biomancer can probably stop herself from decomposing, right? Wouldn't that be a fun and handy way to make her use her powers? Quit looking at me that way, Penelope says, leaning back a little. Quit staring as if I'm beneath you, you little shrimp. I blink in surprise, mastering my expression with significant effort. Right. I should calm the fuck down. My cheek stings a bit, but that's no reason to plot a fucking murder. What is wrong with me? She doesn't know anything. I'm fine. I take a deep breath. I'm sorry for the jokes, Penelope. I'm just really not comfortable talking about this, alright? I try to stand up and find a different place to sit, but she grabs my wrist and holds on. Why? She hisses. I glower down at her. Why what? Why did you come out of nowhere, accuse me of something crazy and hit me in the face? I don't know, Penelope. Now leave me alone. The others are trying to sleep. Her expression is furious, but she does let go and head back to her sleeping bag. Damn it. I had just started getting along with her a little. Stupid fucking necromancy. It's not like I want to keep it a secret. I just don't want to die. Furious with myself, with Penelope, and with the entire damn world, I settle in for a long night. Remus doesn't even go back to sleep, so I can't pull out a soul to munch on. Worse, an hour after Penelope passes out again, he gets up and sits down next to me. He doesn't say anything, though. He just looks up and watches the island above. I'm not in the mood for company right now, though. My thoughts race. Why is he here? Why is he being silent? Is this an intimidation tactic? If it is, it's damn well working. What are you doing here? I ask, giving into the silence first. He glances at me. In my experience, he says, most people come to the Hunters Guild to escape something. I frown back. The heck? Yeah, well, that makes sense to me. I probably wouldn't be here if starving to death wasn't my alternative, I tell him. He smiles knowingly. Though what he knew, or what he thought he knew, I had no idea. I'm not so sure you wouldn't be, he said simply. Most people come to the Hunters Guild to escape, but some come to seek adventure, glory, passion, death. For themselves or others. They are the ones that truly excel in this business. Penelope is like that. You are too. I scowl. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence, I guess. He turns his attention back to the sky. I once knew a man whose talent was to make living things explode. What? I ask, blinking with surprise. Yes, he said, nodding. They sent him to a research lab and reverse engineered it. It's an illegal spell now. Something about gas production. Apparently the learned mages couldn't get it past even the weakest magic resistances, but he could just do it. To anyone, whenever he wanted. His gaze returns to me, eyes gleaming. His parents were carpenters, I think. He had been trained at the craft from a young age, and he was good at it. So of course, everyone told him just don't blow anything up and become a carpenter. But he ignored them all and joined the Hunters Guild instead. I scowl. What happened to him? I ask. Remus shakes his head. He served us wonderfully for 10 years, then one day his team went out and didn't come back. So it goes. But my point is, why? He wasn't forced by a life of hunger and cruelty. Penelope certainly wasn't. So why would they join us? Because this was the only place they could use their talents, I answer. It's part of who I am, Lynn had said. Remus nods. In his heart, and in his soul, in the very core of his being. That man was a killer, because he was born with a talent that killed. Talents want to be used. People want to grow. That is just part of what a human is. People like him, people like us. We kill monsters so we do not become monsters ourselves. For some people, the Hunters Guild is a place to do something that matters before they die. Yet for others, it is the only place they can matter at all and still be themselves. I stare at him. He didn't seem aggressive at least. But there were hundreds of talents he could be talking about. Would his stance change if I told him what mine is? You think I'm part of that category, I say. That I have a talent for killing. He shrugs. I suspected there was more to you from the moment you signed up. And you have grown more from these past 2 days of fighting to the death and all our training sessions together. I just wanted you to know that you're in good company, when it comes to death. The Mistwatcher makes some of us healers and some of us warriors. It is just his will. Damn it. His will. Didn't that just cinch it, though? It figures that Remus is a Mistwatcher worshipper. All his flowery language applies to everyone but me, I bet. I appreciate that, I say stiffly. I still just don't think I'm comfortable talking about it. He flashed another knowing smile, which couldn't help but piss me off a little. He probably thinks he knows, because he probably never considered natural necromancy as on the table. Mistwatcher worshippers might want to kill me, but at least they also think I don't exist. That's all right for now. Just remember, one day you'll be out here and something will come after your team that will push you to the limit. If you hold back when that time comes, you will die. In my opinion, it's always better to go all out from the start than to save your trump card for the last move. Seize the upper hand and keep the momentum. That will always be more reliable than praying for a last-second reversal. He gets up and returns to his bed after that, leaving me to stew. Yeah, well, maybe I can become a way better hunter if I use hordes of undead. Wouldn't that be handy? Honestly, I'd love it. It sure must be nice having a talent people won't kill you for. Great advice, Remus. I should calm down. I'm probably just annoyed because I'm so exhausted. While I wait for everyone to pass out, I decide to check up on my own soul. I don't often pay too much attention to it, but with all these other souls I'm meeting I probably should keep better tabs on it. Before, it had been dark, lightning-like flashes glowing occasionally from within. It had since grown substantially, the flashes now settled into a calm light, oscillating in brightness as if breathing. It's as though the blackness is a shell, holding the glowing despite its small cracks. It feels like an egg. What am I? Am I even human? My soul looks and feels nothing like anyone else's. It's like some alien thing hiding in a facsimile of a human soul's shape, just a creature in a shell of a girl. Have I always been like this, and never known? Or is adding other souls to my own changing how mine develops? I suppose it doesn't matter. I already know I'm a monster. Eventually, Remus falls back asleep. Thank goodness. Regardless of my musings, I happily pop out one of my spare snacks and swallow, letting stress melt away along with the soul in my belly. Ah, it felt so good. I couldn't stop now, so at least this is a fun way to end the day. I can't believe this job isn't even half over. Hold up, I murmur. The team immediately halts, letting me get a better feel for whatever danced at the edge of my perceptions. The soul is small, brown like mud, and sounds like a single note of a song. Beautiful on its own, yet part of a greater whole incomprehensible from just this single piece. That's certainly striking, but what really caught my attention is the soul's location. I sense movement underground, I report. Right direction, about the right strength. Might be the first sign of the target. Silent grins of relief spread over the team, partly because that's much better news than why I usually tell them to hold up, and mainly because we all wanted to get this hunt over with. Coming close to disaster had sobered us a lot yesterday, and a bit of extra stress is now floating around the team from Penelope's extra batch of coldness. She hasn't healed the hand-shaped welt on my face, though to my amusement its presence mostly seems to get other teammates to ask her embarrassing questions. I'm not exactly sure what's being asked, but I can't say I don't enjoy the spurts of petty revenge as she sputters indignant responses. Her face gets redder than my cheek when she's worked up, and it amuses me greatly. Maybe I shouldn't have been so flippant with her. Can't spell sass without ass, after all. Still, none of it is something she should have hit me over. Especially not now. The middle of the mission is a bad time to confront people about deadly secrets, and a worse time to smack teammates. Whatever. The end is in sight, hopefully. As we resume moving forward, I feel more and more of the muddy song souls, each becoming more beautiful the more of them there are. It's certainly a colony of something that digs tunnels, and it's close to where the target is supposed to be. For the next phase of the plan, we need to circle around the outside of their tunnel network, figuring out exactly how big it is and guessing how many there are. Then, we find an opening and use a combination of Penelope's sickness voodoo and Orville's wind magic to push a deadly infection down the burrows. It's a simple enough plan in concept, but brutally slow going in practice. Circling around the burrow hound's territory, or what I assume is the burrow hound's territory, for all I knew this could still be something totally different, took upwards of 3 hours. Then it's slow, careful, silent progress over the outer tunnels of the territory, pressing forwards. If I feel them encroaching on the team, we would have to bolt. There are, thankfully, other monsters wandering around on the surface above the tunnels, so it should be safe to risk the same. I can't feel the tunnels themselves, but the closer we get to the center of the territory, the deeper I feel more of the souls. There's a knotwork to some of them, a blackish, sticky soul is layered onto many of the creatures as they move, wedged right next to the normal soul. Maybe they're pregnant, or have some kind of parasite. What makes it so odd is that parasites tend to have very tiny souls, often too small for me to detect while inside a far larger body with a far larger soul next to them. The dark, sticky souls are about the same size as the main one, though. I have no idea what that could mean. Not a huge deal, I suppose. Either way, we're here to kill them. Eventually, I feel it, a spot where the souls move from above the ground to below and vice versa. With a vantage point, I spot them, the burrow hounds, like large moles with wide noses. They snuffled around on 4 legs, drooling wherever they walked. Contact, I whisper. Burrow hounds confirmed. Only about 6 of them are around this opening. There's a clearing around the hole where trees are uprooted by the hounds' rampant digging. Time to clear the area so the mages can work. Just 6, I murmur to the team, trading my vantage point with Orville. 4 in sprinting distance above ground, 2 in the burrow. Sounds like we're up, then, Nora responds, readying her shield. I'll draw the two in the burrow out and run back to you. These guys are weaker than the little disciples, right Vita? Way weaker, I confirm. Like maybe half an orphan each. Probably not smart enough to grab at your helmet. Half an orphan? Vil murmurs from above. So I'm with you, Vita? Bentley asks hesitantly. Yes, I confirm. Stay hidden until Nora brings them over. We don't want any heading back to the burrow, we want this one open and safe for us to drop Death down. He nods, a bit less of his fire than usual. I suppose even he must be worn out for the trip. That or maybe he's embarrassed by his showing in the little disciple fight. Small, weak enemies were not his forte, and this would be more of the same. Small, weak enemies were my forte, though. That said, I don't want to over-rely on my soul-sucking. Getting close enough to monsters to touch them is a dumb idea when I have a spear. Of course, letting monsters eat me when I can murder them with a touch is also dumb, but not giving them a chance to eat me in the first place seems ideal. I'm sticking with the spear. Nora's lure works, no surprise considering how huge and loud she is, and the two hounds rush over to where we hide in the brush. A quick stab from me, a wide swing from Bentley, and they go down. No sweat. Shortly after, the four others rush in, but Nora successfully holds their attention long enough to give our team more clean kills. These things are weak. Not that it stops my heart from nearly hammering out of my chest. Weak they may be, but my best guess on how many were below our feet? Thousands, easily. No wonder the Hunters Guild sent our team to biobomb them. What else would even work? I pocket the souls and move up. As a unit, the whole team approaches the burrow. I hand Penelope a burrow hound corpse and she sets to examining it as Orville begins to cast a massive, complicated spell. I sure hope this will all work, or the last 2.5 days have been a big waste of time. Well, a waste of time for everyone that doesn't get to eat a huge store of delicious, delectable souls. I wanted to devour them all so badly. Now is not the time for that, however. Now, I focus. The burrow hounds aren't happy at all about our crew camping one of the holes to their home, but ultimately it's only a single hole. They cannot understand the threat our team poses to them, and they're far from the most aggressive species in the forest. For now, they seem content to leave us alone. Though agitation is building on all sides. After an excruciatingly stressful 10 minutes, Orville and Penelope are ready. The air moves through the forest, Orville's magic pressing the atmosphere like a vice. Air flows quickly down into the burrow as Penelope focuses on her own spell, the wind carrying her deadly plague down, down into the tunnels. The rush of air makes the burrow hounds on edge, but it isn't until they start to die in droves that the colony begins to panic. We've got a reaction, guys, I murmur. They're moving. The team nods but there's not much more to say. A few of the two-souled hounds die, but the sticky soul that had been on them doesn't. The black souls abandon the dead hounds, moving quickly by themselves to a living one. What were those things? They felt just as big as the hounds, soul-wise, but the hounds weren't attacking them. Before I can think about it any further, however, something big moves in my senses from deep underground. It feels like the burrow hounds, all muddy and musical, but it's absolutely massive, many dozens of times larger in soul than any of its fellows. It has multiple sticky souls attached to it, and the damn thing is plowing through dirt like water, headed straight up. Big one. Big one incoming to the surface. I warn. I do a quick judge of its soul size compared to the team's. And yeah, no way, no how. Retreat. I call. If it comes, we can't take it. Belay that for a moment, Remus says, stepping forward. Report on the primary objective, Vita. Over 100 dead and rising, sir. I estimate well over 1,000 in the burrows. Penelope? Remus asks. Not enough. She answers. I need twice as many infected before I'm confident it will kill the colony. Retreating is the correct call, Remus says. But I want this colony dead. This will not be marked negatively on your review. He steps forward, and for the first time ever I see him draw his blade. A simple, two-handed longsword, its hilt and pommel carved of the same blue scale-like material as his armor. Yet the blade. It gleams in the daylight, incredibly intricate patterns carved along the blade. Cold, dense, and sharp, there's a force to it that other weapons simply did not have. I'm no learned mage, and I cannot see nor feel the intricate flows of magic. Yet the pressure around the gleaming metal weighs on me as it gathers and readies power like a man would draw and expel breath. The blade is metal. I've never seen anything like it in my life. 100 yards in front of us, the ground erupted in an explosion of dirt and fury. The massive burrowhound is more than just an upscaled mole, its long fur is stiff like spikes, the drool from its slobbering mouth hisses on the dirt below. It is a beast of muscle and death. Screeching in fury, the monstrosity charges at our group, Remus in front. Dozens, maybe hundreds of its kin burst up the tunnel after it, rushing after their leader as they emerged in a tide of death. Orville. Penelope. Keep focusing on the burrows, Remus orders. Your job is to make sure not enough of them retreat to be a threat later. Vita, Bentley, Nora. He swings the blade so fast, I never even see it. He simply held the sword in one stance, then in another, like a painting of before and after the swing with no interim. A blast of pressure crashes in my ears, and a majority of the burrowhounds charging us were dead. Only the ones directly behind the biggest hound live, the insanely massive dog mole having taken the attack with only a gash to its face. It charges forward nonetheless, unslowed and undiscouraged. Do what you can, Remus finishes, moving forward to intercept. It's clear, however, that there is nothing our team can do but watch in horror as Remus effortlessly carves through the rest of the above-ground hounds. He wades into them like I might wade through the sewer, counting them as nothing more dangerous than shit. Even the massive hound proves unable to tank his blade up close. The survivors break after the larger hound dies, Remus cutting them down anyway. We do nothing but stand and gawk. Remus is the man with the strongest soul I have ever felt. Yet I never realized how wide that gap had truly been until this moment. The only thing that catches my mind beyond his overwhelming display are the sticky-souled creatures inside the largest hound. Most of them died when Remus nearly cleaved the beast in two, but a few of them remain alive. Remus, however, neither notices or cares, starting to make his way back to our team. What the fucking hell did he even need us for? Nora hisses. Is that even a human? To kill the ones that retreat in the burrows, as I said, Remus calls back, flicking blood off his blade from half a field away. And yes, I'm human. I'm a decent warrior, but I can't dig. Carefully, gently, he takes a cloth and wipes the sword clean, sheathing it once more as he makes it back to the rest of us. Have you finished the dispersal, Penelope? He asks. She glances at me, eyes wide with the implied question. W is still shy of T200 deaths you underground, I think, I managed to stammer out. P probably just another minute or two. He nods, seeming content. There's some survivors still, over there, I tell Remus. They're inside the big hound's body, but they're not hounds. He frowns. Really? How strong are they? Not very, I say. About as strong as one of the normal burrowhounds. There was a really big one, but you killed it. The survivors feel like they're inside the core. No, they're moving. I feel the souls start to spread out in every direction, as if fleeing blindly. I squint, but I see nothing. Remus stares as well, but seems to be having the same problem. Are there any coming this way? Not directly, I answer. Well, keep tabs on them. I don't know what they could be, but obviously you should assume they're dangerous until we do. You're certain they're not baby burrowhounds? That might have been a queen. I can't say I'm sure, but they feel totally different to burrowhounds. Whatever they are, they must be very small. I do not even see the grass moving. Come with me, we'll investigate. Take me to the closest one. I nod and do as I'm told, leaving the team to finish the mission as I lead Remus into the path of one of the few that's fleeing kind of in our direction. As it gets closer I point at where I feel it, and Remus strikes out with a kick in that direction. I almost, maybe see something. A flicker, a bit of movement, but whatever it is launches itself at Remus. He seems to see something then, punching at the air. I hear a wet slap, and whatever it is simply dies. Remus murmurs, taking a look at his gauntlet. I peek as well, seeing almost nothing. Just barely, I notice a thin, translucent ooze smeared over it. Weird. Any idea what that was, sir? I ask. Just some parasitic slime, I suspect, he answers. There are dozens, if not hundreds of kinds. Being camouflaged when outside a body is new to me, though. You said there was more than one in the large beast? Yeah, I confirm. Then they're probably not deadly, at least. That beast wasn't fighting like something sick. Penelope should be able to deal with them if one gets inside a person. I nod, following him back to the group. I make an excuse about procuring rations and head into Remus's murder zone, collecting souls before Penelope finishes her genocide. Then it's time to start the return trip, which is unlikely to be any less deadly. At least the end is in sight. A few hours later, we make camp well away from the corpse-filled burrows and the scavengers that were no doubt already feasting on the aftermath of Remus's passing. Finally, I head somewhere relatively safe. I want to talk with the team, but even more than that I want them all to be asleep. I nabbed an absurd number of souls, including that of the ridiculously huge burrow hound. Its soul is even bigger than mine, yet it still fits nicely inside my body. I can barely wait to eat it. Eating all these burrow hound souls would be a near literal symphony of flavor. Ah, they felt so wonderful just to have bumping around inside me. I couldn't help but squirm around a bit, I'm just so excited. Still, I can't fantasize about meals too much or I'll go crazy. Everyone is still awake, so I should probably stop squealing to myself in excitement during a pretend bathroom break and actually go talk to people. I begrudgingly return to camp, heading over to Remus. I'm curious, has this been an example of a normal mission? I ask. So far. No, not at all, Remus answers. I have to step in to save most teams on their first mission. Your extreme paranoia serves your team well, Vita. Though on a normal mission, you wouldn't have me at all, and you would have failed when the deviant burrowhound emerged to chase you off. You may have even died when it either caught you or forced you into a worse situation in your haste. You said I made the right call, though, I press. You did, Remus said. Retreat was the right call, your team could not have fought that monster. Yet sometimes you make all the right calls and people still die. Usually less than when you make the wrong calls, though, so keep up the slow but steady approach on our way back. It has been working. I nod, grabbing and munching on some burrowhound meat that I acquired from the slaughter pile. I had actually been going to collect food, souls being part of that food is entirely incidental. Apparently, my completely undiscerning appetite is starting to become infamous among the team, but they're all the crazy ones. We have a biomancer. She can treat meat. Everything we killed is made of meat. Why are they sticking with the packed rations that don't go bad? Eating something collected in the field instead of the rations is free food. I've been dying to ask all day, Nora started, a grin on her face. Vita, what's that hand-shaped mark on your cheek, and why hasn't Penelope healed it? I blink. Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that. Penelope and I have different senses of humor, I say simply. Oh yeah? I've never seen a world that bad since my brother tried to get handsy with his girlfriend. What are you implying? Penelope fumes, turning on her. Just make sure whatever you do to help keep our scout awake all night isn't distracting her, AP? Nora answers, her grin approaching dangerous levels. Penelope makes some furious, incoherent noises which, while amusing, I mostly ignore. I have no idea what Nora is talking about, but something she said stuck out to me. I didn't know you have a brother, I say. Her smile drops. Well, I guess I don't anymore, Nora answers. I take another big bite of meat, chew it for a while, then swallow. Oh. She chuckles dryly. That's it? Just oh. No, I'm sorry, Nora, or oh no, what happened? Or anything? I shrug. People die. Do you want to talk about it? She gives me a long, considering look. Then shakes her head. Nah, not really, Nora says. Not much of a story. I'm not from Skyhope, I lost my village in a monster attack, me and my mum are the only survivors. I nod, chomping down some more meat. That's good, I murmur with my mouth full. Got your mum. Pretty lucky. Lucky? Nora asked, flashing me another very weird look. Well, I'm sorry, for what it's worth, Orville says, butting in. But I suspect Vita probably has us all beat with tragic backstory bingo, so sympathy might be better sought elsewhere. I'm sympathetic. I protest. And I don't know what bingo is. I'm just saying, that's pretty good. I'd freak out if Rowan and the kids died, but if I still had Lynn? I probably wouldn't go totally nuts. Probably just kill the people responsible and move on, right? Oh. Is that why you joined the Hunters Guild, Nora? I nibble a bit more, turning my attention back to food. It's tasty meat, but I've already had a lot and I should finish it slowly. Getting sick before bed would be bad. Vita, you really are a creepy kid sometimes, you know that? Nora eventually responds. I look up. Everyone is staring at me. A lifetime of instinct activates, and I squeeze the food I'm holding in a death grip. I'm not a kid, I tell them, and if any of you want my meat, too late. You turned it down already. Nora suddenly grins again, glancing at Penelope for a split second before busting out laughing. She is a child. Penelope shrieks, turning tomato red with fury. You utterly incorrigible degenerate. This is not funny. You take back your vile implications this instant or so help me. Nora only laughs louder, while Orville turns away with embarrassment. Yeah, I'm not getting in the middle of whatever that is. I finish my meal and head to sleep. A couple hours after nightfall, an oddly reserved Bentley wakes me up with a tap on my shoulder. I thank him and stretch, feeling around with my soul sense for anything noteworthy. There were some nearby souls I didn't recognize. Oh. They were those black sticky ones, the slime things. They're really nearby. I should deal with that. Blinking a bit of clarity back into my senses, I find them both quite easily. A chill settles through my features, waking me instantly. They were inside Penelope and Remus.